Alrighty, well, I got my potatoes and my chicken all cooked up here, all heated up in the toaster oven, connected to the power bank. Yeah, hey. Alright, let's go outside. This power bank has been a real lifesaver, I'll tell you. A friend of mine bought this for me. It was very kind of him to do, an old friend of mine. It cost, well, they were on sale when he bought it, but it still cost $1,000. It was normally like $1,500 thing. I couldn't have afforded it, so I was very fortunate that this old friend of mine, bought it for me. He got one for himself at the same time because he wanted it in case there's a power failure where he is. Power failures are actually not uncommon these days. Anyway, I'm going to have my scalloped potatoes. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Wow. Hot. There's Rocky. I think I need to let that cool a bit. Rocky's beautiful. That was pretty hot. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I don't want to do that again. That was a real shock to the system. All right. Yeah. There's my Rocky. I've been thinking about the idea of going to Prescott with the borrowed truck. I've decided against it. I was thinking of doing that just because I don't think that truck's going to lay down on me. But still, if something happened, it's not my truck, so I don't feel comfortable to do that. You know, it's on their insurance and everything else, so it's best I don't be doing things like that, I guess. But I'll figure out something, though. We got to go somewhere today, with it being such a nice day. I got to figure out where we might go. I just don't know yet. I just don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we'll sort it out. I wish my old friend Jimmy McCann was still alive. Because if he was, I'd take you out to his farm. And you'd be amazed. I'll tell you that right now. You'd really be amazed by this place. This place had fields, just acres and acres. You go up behind the house and there was a big open field. And then you go through another tree line and there's another big open field. And then there was another big open field behind that, full of antique cars. Like literally rows of antique cars. You know, cars all the way from like the 20s and 30s on up into the 1980s and 90s. He just passed away a few years back now. But I'll tell you, it was a remarkable place. I went out there quite often. He was a good friend of mine. And he was a real character. He was a real character. He was different, you know, but in a good way. Anyway, but yeah, you'd have I think most of you would have enjoyed that. Even people who don't really care for cars, who aren't car people, would probably have found that place quite fascinating. Jimmy started buying cars up in the early 70s when you could buy an old car up for $50, you know, and he'd buy them up and he'd just park them in the row back there. And it was remarkable, the stuff he had anyway. Around here when I was a kid, I remember there were still a lot of people driving 30s and 40s and 50s cars to work every day. Just really, they were just cheap cars, you know. Good for grocery getting and going to work and stuff like that. Chicken's beautiful. I have to share a bit of it with Rocky. Anyway, so I don't know where we're going to go exactly. I kind of wanted to take you and show you the bridge that goes across to New York State. There's one spot along Highway 2 between Brockville and Prescott where you can see, I believe it's called the Ambassador Bridge. I'm not sure of the name of it, but I think that's what it's called. Then it goes from Ogdensburg, goes from well, near to Prescott, Ontario, to Ogdensburg. There you go, my friend. Over to Ogdensburg, New York area. And it's quite a thing to see anyway. There's one spot where you can see it really well. It's quite an impressive bridge. It's an old bridge, and it's like a light green color. At least it was. I don't know if it's still that color. I haven't seen it in years. The last time I saw it would have been in the early 1990s. In fact, I was out for a drive with some family members, and we stopped there and we had a picnic. There's a little park where you could see the bridge from there and stuff. You were almost under the bridge when you were in this park, and it was really neat anyway. I'd love to show you that, but I don't think we're going to do that today. If my truck were on the road and I could trust it, we'd do that, but like I say, I don't trust my truck, and I trust the other truck I'm driving right now more. I think it would make the trip, but you never know what might happen. You know, somebody might drive into me or something and end up wrecking that truck, and it's not my truck, so I don't feel comfortable to do that. I thought about it, and I decided it wouldn't be a responsible thing to do. So they lent me the truck so that I could get around, get into town and get groceries and go to my jobs and things like that. Well, Rocky just had his chicken. Well, well, mine's laid up. But still, I'll think of something. There's got to be some place we can go today. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to finish my dinner here. We'll talk to you later.